Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's video, I've got 4 ideas for easy and delicious breakfast for you. So if you are looking for some breakfast inspiration, just keep watching. First up, I'm making what I call piggies, and that might sound a little funny, but you'll see why I call them that in just a second. So to make these super easy, you just need 2 ingredients. First, you need some kind of pancake mix. Now, of course, you can use a homemade pancake batter. I like this Krusteaz protein pancake mix. You can just add water to it, or you can add milk, almond milk, whatever you prefer, and it's got added protein in it, which is, of course, a little bit better for you than other pancake mixes. But again, just use your favorite. You just need pancake batter. And then second, we're going to use some sausage links. I either use chicken or turkey sausage links, but of course, you could just use regular pork sausage if you prefer. If you don't like sausage at all or don't have it, you could also just use some cooked bacon. All right, let me show you how to put these together. So easy. I've got the oven preheating to 425 degrees, and here's why I call these piggies. So this is like an as seen on TV thing. I think it was called like Piggy Pop. My dad got it for me a while ago. You totally do not have to use this. You could use any kind of silicone mold. You could also just use like a mini muffin tin to make these. So all I'm gonna do is spray this with a little bit of cooking spray. Yes, it's silicone, trust me. Add a little bit of cooking spray or butter. To make it a little easier to get in and out of the oven, I like to put it on a cookie sheet. So once I've done that, and by the way, I'll have this Piggy Pop thing linked in my description box below. You can find it on Amazon. It's just a few dollars if you're interested. So we're going to add our pancake batter. And like I said, with this particular mix, you just need to add water. You can also add milk, almond milk, an egg if you want. But I like to add a little bit of vanilla extract. So I'm going to mix that together and then add it to the silicone mold. I'm then going to take a piece of the sausage. I cooked these in the air fryer just to keep it easy. And then I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of extra batter on top. And then this is going to go into the preheated oven and bake for about 12 to 15 minutes or until the pancake batter is cooked all the way through. Once they're done, I'm going to flip them out onto the cookie sheet. And then to go along with this, I made up some scrambled eggs. I've shared how to make these before on my channel. They're really easy. I just whisk together eggs, some milk, salt, pepper, and Tony Chachere's and cook them on about medium-low until they're nice and fluffy. And then here is the plate. So we've got some of the little piggies, some of the eggs, and then some fresh strawberries and maple syrup for dipping. And this is a quick breakfast. This is something that you can meal prep ahead of time and just warm them up in the mornings. And whether you use the piggy mold or not, your kiddos will like them, but adults like them too. My husband and I really enjoyed these. It's a yummy little breakfast. Next up, I'm making banana bread overnight oats. I'll link the recipe that I pretty much followed in the description box below. And a quick disclaimer before I get into this recipe. Some of the breakfasts on this video, the lighting is off. I got a new camera and I was trying to familiarize myself with the different settings and things like that. So several of the shots they almost look overexposed to me, and I apologize about that, but just bear with me. I'm working on getting accustomed to the new camera and new settings and everything. All right, let me show you the ingredients. First up, we of course need oats. Now I prefer to use like the instant oats, just use your preference. And then you need some kind of milk. Normally when I make these, I use almond milk, but I didn't have any on hand today, so I just used the regular milk that we buy. You'll need a pinch of salt, some vanilla extract, maple syrup. You could also use honey or brown sugar or just regular sugar, a little bit of ground cinnamon, a ripe banana, and then kind of optional, but I would recommend, as long as you don't have like a nut allergy or something like that, are some chopped nuts. I prefer walnuts. You could use pecans if that's your preference. And then this particular recipe does not call for chia seeds, but a lot of times when I do overnight oats, I like to add them. It just adds some extra protein and nutrients. You don't have to add them if you don't want to. So to make these super easy, I've got a mason jar here. All I'm going to do is add all of my ingredients, give it a stir or a shake, and then place this into the refrigerator, and that's it. Now, if you've never made overnight oats before, don't worry, the oats get nice and soft. Just make sure you refrigerate this at least overnight, to give the oats a chance to absorb all of the liquid. Overnight oats are great to make ahead or meal prep. You can make a bunch on like a Sunday and have them throughout the week. They're great for work or school. You can send them with the kiddos or yourself or, your significant other. They're portable. You can heat these up if you like, but you don't have to. You can eat them straight out of the jar as is. If you do microwave them and you're using a metal lid, of course, just make sure you take that off before you microwave it. And I apologize for my little hand flutter there. There was a little like gnat or fruit fly swarming around and it was getting on my nerves. But anyway, like I said, I just mix everything together and put this into the fridge. By the way, these little lids, I will link them down below. I got them on Amazon. I love them. Of course, you can use metal lids if you prefer, but I like using these. Metal lids can kind of rust on you a little bit, so I like to use these plastic lids when I'm doing like overnight oats or my homemade honey mustard or ranch dressing, stuff like that. Now, to serve this up, like I said, you can just eat this straight out of the jar cold. I placed it into a bowl, though, and microwaved it more for the video. Normally, I'd just microwave it in the mason jar. And then as a little garnish, I added a little drizzle of extra maple syrup and a little sprinkling of cinnamon and the chopped nuts, and we were good to go. And this legit tasted like banana bread. Super yummy. If you like banana bread, I recommend you all give this recipe a try. And it's also good to have, to use up like ripe bananas instead of just banana bread as I normally do. But anyway, yummy little breakfast. All right, so next up, I know some of you may be like rolling your eyes just seeing the name of this recipe and be like, oh my gosh, really again? But just bear with me, be patient. Not all of us are super cool and up on the TikTok. But I've seen these everywhere, as I'm sure many of you have. These are the viral TikTok cinnamon rolls. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, so on TikTok, a lot of times people will share different recipes or hacks. I guess the kids are calling them now these days. But anyway, these are basically just, you take canned cinnamon rolls, add a couple of ingredients to them, and they taste like homemade or like bakery style cinnamon rolls. So I made them once before, but I didn't get to try them. My husband and my siblings ate them and they said they were delicious. But I wanted to give them a try. And so I thought I would show you all how to make it just in case you haven't tried them yet. I highly recommend you give them a try. Sometimes a lot of the like viral hacks and stuff like that I don't find to be worth the hype, but I actually think this is worth it, especially for the upcoming holidays. Company, it's a great way to make a really nice breakfast that doesn't take a whole lot of effort. So here are the ingredients I'm going to use. First, you'll need some kind of canned cinnamon rolls. Now, most of the recipes that I've seen for this really recommend you using like the grand cinnamon rolls, and I think those turned out well. I know Pillsbury and there may be some other brands have cinnamon rolls that aren't actually cinnamon rolls. They're more like biscuits. I would not recommend you using those. I would use some form of like the actual cinnamon rolls. Now, you can use whatever different brand or variety you like. I saw these pumpkin spice ones and I thought that would be a nice little yummy fall treat. So that's what I'm going to use. And a quick note, I am having the recipe. Most of the recipes that I've seen call for 2 cans. I'm only going to use 1, and I'll link the recipe in the description box below for you. Now, aside from that, you need some heavy whipping cream, and really you can stop there. But like I said, most of the recipes I saw called for you to go a little bit further and add some butter, brown sugar, and then a little bit of cinnamon. But because I'm using these pumpkin spice rolls, I decided to use some pumpkin pie spice. All right, let me show you how to put these together real quick. I've got the oven preheating to 350 degrees. I've sprayed my baking dish with some cooking spray. I'm going to remove the cinnamon rolls from the package and place them into the baking dish. And you do want to spread these out a little bit. You'll see how much these rise in just a second, so give them a little bit of room. Now we're going to pour the heavy whipping cream over. And then, like I said, you could stop there and just bake these. However, we are going to take some melted butter, add in the brown sugar and a little bit of the pumpkin pie spice or cinnamon if you prefer. I'm going to whisk that together and then pour that over the rolls. And as you can see, this is not at all a healthy dish. This is a once in a while special occasions. I think this would be great for like Christmas morning or Thanksgiving morning or the morning after Thanksgiving. Great for company. So at this point, we are going to cover this with foil. This is going to go into the preheated oven. And I baked these for about 30 minutes and then I removed the foil and baked them for another 5 minutes or so. Once they came out of the oven, this is what they look like. And then I warmed up the icing that came in the package, drizzled that over them, and then that was it. Here is the plate. I just served this with some fresh fruit. These were delicious. They were so good. I only could eat half of one, but they were yummy. And they taste like a bakery or a homemade cinnamon roll. So if you're not a big baker, or like I said, if you're looking for something for company or a quick breakfast, I recommend you all give this a try. Finally, I'm going to make Copycat Subway breakfast sandwiches. Now, Gary and I, we love Subway's breakfast sandwiches, but the only one near us that sells them is inside of a Walmart, which isn't really convenient, so we don't have them nearly as often as what we would like to because we really enjoy them. But I thought, there has got to be a way that I can make these at home, and so we love like the Southwest Chipotle dressing, not the new one, they've changed it, the old one, and I was like, there has got to be, a Copycat recipe, and I found one, and it is like spot on. So let me show you how to make these. If you don't care for the Southwest Chipotle sauce, you can just skip this part of the recipe, but if you like it, I recommend you all give this a try. All right, here are the ingredients you're going to need for the Southwest Chipotle sauce. First up is some ranch dressing. You can use your favorite bottled. I like to use my homemade, or really it's semi-homemade. And a lot of people ask me for this recipe. It's not really my recipe or really even a recipe, and it's more semi-homemade. I just use the Hidden Valley Ranch dressing mix, and I follow the instructions on the back of the packet. So for one packet or about 3 tablespoons of dry mix, it's a cup of milk. You could use buttermilk. You could use regular milk. I've even made it with almond milk, and then a cup of mayonnaise. You whisk that together, put it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes to give it a chance to thicken up, and the like all the dried herbs will soften, and then that's it. So we've got the ranch, and then you need some mayonnaise, white vinegar, onion powder, garlic powder, sugar, and then chipotle peppers and adobo. You can, of course, use the cans. I like using this jarred, though, because I don't use a whole can at once, and so you can just put this in your fridge, and they're already chopped up for you. To make this sauce really easy, we're going to add everything to a blender. For stuff like this, I have this little Hamilton Beach blender. I got this years and years ago at Walmart. I'll try to find something similar and link it down below on Amazon. It's great for stuff like this or for like individual smoothies. So again, just adding everything. We're going to add the ranch, the mayonnaise, the vinegar, onion powder, garlic powder, sugar, and then the chipotle peppers. Now this sauce does have a kick to it. If you're kind of more sensitive to spice, you can cut back like half the amount of chipotle peppers. I'm just going to whiz that up, and then I kind of scrape down the sides and then whiz it for just a couple more seconds, and that's it. Super, super easy. You are going to chill this in the fridge, and the recipe said this will keep up to 2 weeks. So that's kind of cool. You can make it once and use it on all kinds of things. Now, I am going to put it in this little squeeze bottle. I just got this at Walmart. I think it was like 95 cents, 98 cents, something like that. All right, so for the sandwiches themselves. Now, I've mentioned before on my channel that my husband, when it comes to sandwiches and burgers, he pretty much likes everything but the kitchen sink. When we go to Subway, he gets almost every ingredient. So there's quite a few ingredients here for his sandwich, but just use what you like. You do not have to use all of these by any means. When we have the breakfast sandwiches at Subway, we like getting it on their flatbread. I don't know what kind or brand they use, but the closest thing I could find to it were the Stonefire Artisan flatbreads, the rectangular shaped ones. And it was actually really close to what Subway serves, we felt like. Next, you'll need some eggs. You just scramble up a few eggs. Subway makes what they call, I think, omelets. So I just whisked together a couple eggs and cooked it in a nonstick skillet. I did feel like the eggs were a little on the thick side, though. So next time I think I'll only use one egg to make it. And then for the toppings, I've got some ham, pre-cooked bacon, pepper jack cheese, some banana peppers, black olives, sliced bell pepper, cucumber, tomato, and then some baby arugula and spinach. And then, of course, we have the Southwest Chipotle sauce that we made earlier. So to start out, I took the flatbreads and I cut it in half. So I got 2 sandwiches out of 1 piece of bread. And then I laid down the egg omelet, the meats, and then the cheese. And I'm going to place this into my oven. Now, I believe I had my oven set at 400 degrees and I cooked it for maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, just until the bread started to get toasted and the cheese melted. Once it's there, you're going to remove it from the oven and then add your toppings. Now, like I said, for my husband, I pretty much added everything that I showed you. I did add everything that I showed you, rather, for my husband's. For my sandwich, I like it much more simple. I just added some of the arugula and spinach, the sliced tomatoes, and then I'm going to add some of the Southwest Chipotle. And yes, we like quite a bit, so I was generous with that Southwest Chipotle. And then all I did was fold it over. And like I said, you can kind of see in the picture of our plates where the bread started to crack a little bit on me. And that was because my eggs were a little on the thick side. But I served this with just some orange smiles. And these sandwiches were so good. Like I said, if you like Subway's breakfast sandwiches, I recommend you give this a try. And it's so much cheaper to make this at home rather than going to Subway. Like I said, out of this package of flatbread, I could get 4 breakfast sandwiches. And these are super, super hearty and filling. If you have one of these sandwiches for breakfast, you probably won't feel like lunch. These are delicious. All right, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some ideas for you to try for breakfast. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.